Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our presentation for today. I am Dr. Ed Lorden. We are lucky enough to have a recent graduate of our MDC program. We have Ms. Lauren Beachy from class of 24. Does it seem like a long time ago, or does it seem like a short time ago?
Seems like yesterday.
It was like yesterday.
I feel like I'm still in college.
That's great. Well, Lauren is what we selected Lauren for today because she's already off to an exciting career, and she had a very varied career when she was here at Westchester. So we're going to kind of move through this thing chronologically, how she got to Westchester, what happened at Westchester, what happened after Westchester, and then some of the lessons she's learned along the way. Not everything has gone smoothly for her, but as we'll find, she's very successful. She was going to be a success. We kind of knew that the whole time, but sometimes there's bumps and bruises along the way. Welcome, Lauren.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's great
I'm
to
very
see
excited
you.
to be here.
Yeah, let's get in the Wayback Machine and talk to you about before you got to Westchester. You went to high school where?
I went to Bohemia Manor High School in Chesapeake City, Maryland. That's where I'm from. I was born and raised in Elkton, Maryland. And when I was applying to colleges, I was applying all over the place: Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Wanted to stick kind of in the general vicinity of where I'm from. And I had so many college tours, and those are kind of boring. But Westchester stuck out to me. It was kind of the only place that I saw that I could really see myself being there. Not only did I love the campus, but I also love the town. And I think that's a thing that drags a lot of people to come to Westchester, is like the really good balance between the college and the town, and just how cool the place is. So that's definitely what kind of led me there. And I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do, but I know that we had a good communications program. So I started out in comm originally, and then I switched over to MDC. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are getting ahead of yourself. We'll get to that. Let's stretch it apart a little bit more slowly. Did you explore the town on your visit here? Did you go up into the
I
town?
I did. Yeah. We went up and down Gay Street and High Street. We ate at Penn's Table my first visit, which is
Your family was with you.
yes, my family was with me. And they also loved the town as well, and they loved the school, and just especially how the college presented itself on the tour, and just kind of how the day was panned through, was definitely very welcoming, and it was very organized and all that good stuff. So
That's good to know. I'll pass that along to our admissions people. I'm happy about
yeah,
that, even though it
yeah.
was 5 or 6 years ago. Still in high school phase, was there anything going on in high school, activities or interests that was sort of gave you an inclination you were going to end up in comm or MDC? Were you on the newspaper, on the radio station, on the television station, anything like that?
Yeah, so my high school, we didn't really have any of that stuff. But I would do the morning and afternoon announcements over like the PA
All right.
system.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of a inkling as to I really enjoyed it. And then I was our class president. So I really enjoyed, kind of organizing all the events, putting that together, hosting the meetings for the class to come together and kind of figure out what we wanted to do as a class and all that stuff. So definitely being a leader came naturally to me in high school. So I just kind of transferred that over into college.
That's funny you would say that. So many of our majors had some leadership role in high school, including class president. I think it comes with that get involved, jump in, see where I fit, kind of let me take a shot at this kind of approach. And then they build leadership skills simply by getting in there and saying, I'll take a shot at this. I don't exactly know what's going on, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, my dad always says that 98% of life is just showing up, and then you figure it out. So I definitely took that, and that's kind of what I do with everything, and especially in high school, doing a bunch of leadership positions. Just within it was a really small high school. About 140 kids were my graduating class. So that was also nice that it wasn't too many people, and I was able to kind of get my feet wet with a smaller group of people, and then work my way up.
Wow, Westchester must have felt like a big.
It was kind of crazy, yeah.
So you come in as a freshman, declared?
Yeah, so I came in as a freshman as communication studies.
Okay.
And I think even before the very first day of, and also mind you, I was the class of 2020. So this was all COVID.
Oh,
So
boy.
yeah, so my entire freshman year was online. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so that was an entire different entity in itself. Very interesting way to come into college and finish out high school. But I would say even before the first day of Zoom University, I switched over to media
okay.
studies. And then,
All right. So the end of your high school and the beginning of your college were COVID.
yes,
So you got the absolute worst out of anybody in the world.
yes. And I'm so glad you agree.
That's really, really rough stuff. It seems, some ways it seems to me like that was 10 years ago. Some ways it seems like it was a year ago. But we all kind of wandered through that. We all became Zoom experts. Did you manage to make any friends, or what did you do? I mean, you're a social person. What did you do?
What did I do? It was kind of nice because I think a lot of kids were in the same situation. So I think a lot of people I connected with on social media, like people in my classes, we would find each other's Instagrams and stuff and reach out to each other saying, you know, hey, what are you doing for this assignment? You know, this class, how do you feel about it? I got a couple of friends through that. But even before COVID, uh, the way that a lot of people get their roommates is going through Facebook or Instagram. So looking for a roommate, I had already reached out to a lot of people and was making those connections on Facebook. Um, so I was kind of lucky in that sense that I was connected in a way, even though I've never met these people a day in my life, but we still could send a text saying, hey, this is crazy.
I'm curious about the method you, what kind of questions would you ask or be asked in a situation like that where you, what kind of icebreakers did you have to start to get to know people?
Let's see, I remember one of my, this was probably the worst class to ever have on Zoom, but it was my public speaking class with Dr. Gatchett, who was so awesome. He made that so much better, especially like being on Zoom, he made it a lot better. But I remember there was somebody that reached out to me on like Instagram DMs and was like, hey, like I know you're in my class, like, and I'm a chatty girl. Like I was always one. I would answer the professor. So I think just because I would talk to the professor and stuff, I had somebody reach out to me and was like, hey, would you want to FaceTime and practice our public speaking, like our
Really?
speeches together,
Oh,
which was interesting. So I made a friend through that, which was really funny, but
that-
but that was really interesting.
yeah, yeah. Not that many of our current viewers at this moment and later viewers who are reviewing this will not be involved in COVID, but are there any takeaways you had from that that is just good for communication? And I mean, it's kind of a weird question, but what did you learn from all that?
I learned a lot through COVID, and I think it changed everybody in different ways and stuff. But it definitely helped me kind of grow up a bit. And also, it actually, something really interesting, it kind of helped me throughout college. Um, because I wasn't doing anything else and there was nothing else to do. So all I would do was study and all I would do was take classes. And I understand that's not for everybody. There was a lot of people who struggled through
Yeah.
going to college through COVID, but for some reason for me, um, it really didn't affect me. And it also kind of helped me. I ended up graduating early because I took extra classes throughout COVID. Um, so it kind of helped me in a way, which was interesting, but
Boy, that's silver lining thinking right there.
trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
really bad situation.
Did
And
you
it
have
really, go
did you
ahead.
have low times? Did you have low times during that?
Oh yeah, it was the worst time ever. I remember feeling like the world was ending when they told us we weren't coming back to high school and then telling us we weren't going to have a graduation. Um,
Yeah.
and then the worst, there's a picture of me that my mom has of me like literally just laying like face down on the floor when they told us that Westchester wasn't coming back.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could pull it up right now because it is literally me just like laying face down on the floor. I was so upset. Um,
Yeah.
and I think I will say the struggles that I really had with that was like you said, I made friends, but the connections weren't like it never lasted, these friendships.
Uh-huh.
And I would say like I really wish I got to live in a dorm because I think I would have made a lot more friends and like deeper connections that way.
Okay,
And maybe had a little bit of a better experience making friendships
okay.
living
So
in.
was your freshman year still at home?
So yeah, my fall semester I lived at home, and then I actually lived on South Campus my spring semester,
Gotcha. That was
even
your
though
intro.
everything was online.
Okay, that was your introduction to the campus.
It was.
What did you do outside of your apartment during COVID?
I
Did you leave
luckily
your apartment?
I luckily had really good roommates. And that was all very random, and neighbors as well. And we had a lot of fun, and that was the year that we got a lot of snow. So we would go sledding on South
Right.
Campus.
Okay.
And that was really fun. But I also that year I did a lot of things, even trying to join clubs and stuff. So that semester, my my fall semester, I did the training for the radio station. So
Fall,
then
fall semester when you just arrived.
I had just arrived, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
And I
you were starting to commit.
I was committed, yeah, completely. So by the time that the radio training takes about a semester to complete. So by the time that I got to campus, I was able to have my own radio show. So that was something that was really fun that I got to do.
This was your freshman year. You got a
Mhm.
radio show in the first semester of your freshman year?
First semester, I did my training. Second semester, when I lived on South Campus, I had my own show.
What was the name of your show?
What was it? Beachy on the Beat. Good, right?
What kind of music?
It was kind of a little bit of everything. And that was we have our the little. It was a little bit of everything. I'm a big alternative girl, so a lot of alternative music, pop music, anything you name it, I would play it. It was just really fun.
Give us some songs that would have been on your rotation.
Let's see. Ooh, I would play a lot of Cage the Elephant. That's a band. Of course, some Taylor Swift. You got to rock out to Taylor Swift in the tough times. I like Florence and the Machine. They're one of my favorite artists. Noah
Uh-huh.
Kahan. So all the great artists of the world. But yeah, those are some of my favorites.
It must have been really, really liberating to finally, if not take off the mask, at least get out of the apartment.
Yeah, and besides that as well, I joined a sorority that semester as well. So that was also another really great way of making friends and kind of getting us out and stuff.
And that
So
was what shout out to who? Which sorority?
Zeta Tau Alpha.
There you go. All right. And
Yep.
what was do you have a name for you guys oh, there we go.
The crown, my sisters.
So as soon as you could, you were really committing, you were really getting involved in stuff.
Yeah.
Talk to some of our listeners about how that worked for you, why it worked for you. I mean, were you scared to start that stuff, or were you determined, or what was it?
I think it's kind of scary. But if you don't like push through that, then you're never gonna do anything, you know?
Yeah.
So I would definitely say, kind of going out of your comfort zone is really important, especially in college, because that's also how you're gonna find out what you like and what you don't like, you know? And from the radio station, I joined the TV station, and I also joined our school newspaper, like
Oh
my
my gosh.
sophomore year. Yeah, so and then by doing all of that, I knew that I liked communications and that I liked media and all aspects of it. But within those different clubs and stuff, I got to explore what I liked doing. If I liked writing for print, if I liked doing social media, if I liked, I wanted some of the great PRSSA trips with Dr. Lorden himself. So just kind of exploring what you like and what you don't like. I think that's really important, and putting yourself out there. And the best part about it is if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. It's a club.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Did you have any of those? Did you have any that were kind of dead ends for you?
No.
It all kind of worked out?
Yeah, it all kind of worked out. Even though some of the stuff that I joined, I knew I didn't want to do it as a career, I still found joy doing it as a club.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I also think that we have a really good department at Westchester, especially our communications and media. So I would always love the students that I was with. I always loved the professors that were helping us out. So it was just always fun, you know?
So this is good. This is really helpful for our listeners, our viewers, because some of them are part of the way there, but they can't commit or they just don't know what it's going to be like to do it. But you're saying jump off the deep end.
Gotta jump, or you
Yeah,
never will, you know?
yeah, uh-huh,
And that is the best thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. But you won't know if you like it, or you know, some of the best things that I ever did came from something that I was petrified to do. Um
right,
Meeting some of my best friends doing this type of stuff.
right.
So, and like gaining really good experiences that, you know, the clubs lead to internships, the internships lead to jobs. It's all kind of a stepping ladder, you know?
Good points. That makes sense. That makes sense. What kind of hours were you putting in at these different clubs?
A lot of hours.
A lot of hours.
Yeah, I would say couple hours a week for each at least. I would say the sorority was the most taxing. That did a lot, especially when you first start. You're doing a lot with it. But as like we kind of got older, it gets less and less. But
So
like
you
I
were
would say
you
my
living in Slay.
sophomore year, I would like leave at 8 a.m. and would not come back until like 9 o'clock at night. Like it was tiring, but
You were a Sykes girl.
I was a psychs girl.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Any particularly favorite moments from those times? Was it your first show or was it meeting a particular person or anything like that? I mean, what do you, when you look back fondly, what do you look back on?
I always look back. I mean, everything was really good. Within the radio station, I ended up later on having a show with one of my good friends, Courtney Medwin, and me and her just had so much fun together. Like I would look forward to us. We would play like Jeopardy on our radio show, and it was just so much fun. We would have our other friends come in, and he was just so funny. So that was just such a blast. And then the television station is where, you know, I work in TV now, and that kind of opened up the door to me thinking, you know, maybe this is something that I would want to do. And I ended up later on in the club being able to be the host of our TV show. So definitely opening up those doors and stuff.
That's
Uh,
great. That's
and I
great.
met some of my best friends through this department. So
Kind of makes sense because the people in those groups have similar interests.
yeah,
You know, you're meeting people that are into the same stuff you're into. Not that it's bad to meet people outside of that, but it should be a pretty easy connection when you're talking to people who want to get into radio or interested in radio or interested in music or things like that.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Did you keep any recordings?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever go back?
I do, and it's funny. And it's so interesting just kind of seeing how I've grown from being a student into, you know, working in television full time now. You know, that seeing that difference and seeing just how much I've grown even within a year.
So
It's really fun.
you recognize your early mistakes.
Yes. And I'm still making mistakes. I'm still very new to it, but it's been fun.
That's good. That's good. I think a lot of times, particularly for our media institutions, students are intimidated because they're saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to end up on the air or in print or something like that," and I don't have a backstop. But you do have backstops. You do have people that are quality control, trying to make sure that you can improve and not mess up too much.
Yeah, for sure. And especially working in broadcasting, that's kind of how the industry works, is that you do start in a starter market where, you know, it's okay to you're learning, you're making mistakes, you're surrounded by people who know that you're just out of college and they're here to help you and make you better. So it's intimidating, but it's kind of like a step before you know you go into Philly and the big shots, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Did you evolve out of radio into the other ones, or did you move back and forth? I know you moved back and forth, and you had a finger in each pie there. But did you start to say, "I like this about this medium and that about that medium"?
For sure. Yeah, I did. For a while, I thought I wanted to go into radio, and I still do love radio to this day, but I just don't think I would end up happy in it down the line. It's kind of it's a hard thing to get into. And I don't know. I enjoy radio. I had an internship at in Philly at WMMR, so that was really good to get that hands-on experience, kind of seeing an actual radio station, how they work and stuff. But I kind of found that I don't think it was for me. So then I kind of switched over to TV, and I had an internship at WBAL down in Baltimore, where I was a news intern. So I would go out with reporters, I would work with producers, all the aspects of it I got to learn, and I really enjoyed it. So then from there, looked for jobs in TV.
That's great. But let's stay on the internships for a few minutes because that's obviously an important part of your career development. Were you thinking the whole time while you were here, I gotta get an internship. This is something I want to do.
Yes.
What did that do for you to get those internships?
I would say this was probably the rockiest part of my academic
Really?
career, getting internships. It's so difficult. It is really hard and it's frustrating and it really beats you down
Mhm.
because you go on LinkedIn, you go onto these internship sites and you see that there's like hundreds of other kids applying. You see so many other cooler people than you, and then you kind of beat down on yourself, like, why am I not doing this? Why did I not get this? It's kind of like the job search. Internships are really hard to get, and the only reason that I got my internships is because I would find out who the internship coordinator was for the internships, and I would like harass them. I would email them, and I was like, hey, I want this, I want this. Please think of me.
Great. That's great. But not all of them worked out.
Not all of them worked out. No, I really wanted a job, or not a job, but an internship in Philly because I was in Westchester working in TV. You know, 6ABC, something like that. And I was denied every single year. They would tell us, no, you didn't meet the standards for this, sorry. So then my very last semester, I was really stressed out that I didn't have an internship in television because that's what I really wanted one in. And I was really lucky enough to get into WBAL. So, but it was stressful and, you know, it kind of beats you down and makes you wonder, like, why am I not qualified for this? It's an internship. If I'm not qualified for an internship, how am I ever going to qualify for a job? But it's crazy, but everything kind of works out and
I
you got
think
to be really patient with it.
I think where you are right now, what you're talking about is one of the most important things you can talk with our current students about, this idea of it doesn't come easy. You got to knock on a lot of doors.
You got to knock on a lot of doors. You really do.
But you had the stepping stones of, you went through your classroom activity, and then you did the on-campus activities.
Mhm.
And that had to improve your marketability because you had already proven yourself to be a person who was really into the profession.
Yeah, that's for sure. I definitely took it as those steps of start your classes, see how those go, then add in some campus activities, and then gain some leadership within the campus activities. And that kind of proves that you can be a part of a club and then you can be a leader within a club. And then, you know, that shows that you're going to show up, you like what you're doing, and then hopefully an internship looks at you and thinks this person is good enough to come and just be shown the ropes here.
That's really good. So let's think about this, folks. So the folks who are tuned in, let's think about this idea of where you are and how you need to get to your next step, because it can be a set of incremental advances. If you're on campus and you're doing well in your classes, then you can get over to Sykes and start to explore what's over there and carve out a couple of hours, as Lauren's talking about, a couple of hours to get your feet wet in something, learn the basic ropes of it, but you're showing your commitment so that when you go for an internship, you're able to say, I'm involved in this on my campus. I have my own radio show, or I'm behind the camera on the television station. But it separates you from other people who are just saying, geez, I want to get into news production, but they haven't taken the steps to do that. Lauren's talking about taking the steps on campus that put her in a position to be able to go to an internship and say, I've already done this, or I'm committing to this field. And it shows on her resume. It pops off a resume to be able to say, on campus, the part that I control, I'm doing that stuff, and I've learned a lot of stuff along the way.
For sure. And even the stepping stones within an internship as well. My very first internship was a very small radio station in Westchester.
WCHE.
WCHE, that was my very first internship. And it was great, but it's not a big, you know, it's not in Philadelphia, it's not in Baltimore, very small. There was a couple people that worked there. But that did give me like the creativity to kind of explore everything that radio had to offer because it was so small and such an intimate place to be an intern at. And then from there, I worked in Philadelphia at WMMR, and that's, you know, a huge radio station. So I got to, you know, make that jump from a small station And you might not love your first internship, but that's, once again, it's a stepping stone for where you do want to get later down. So I was looking at internships my sophomore year, so I could have a couple under my belt by the time that I graduated.
That's really good advice. That's really something that I think makes a difference in your career there. And you learn the ropes. And at a small station, I mean, everybody wants to work for the Yankees, but you can you can work for a minor league team and do a lot more stuff. You know, if you're the
That's
big
exactly
confident,
how it was. I loved my time at WCHE. I got to do so many cool things there. Got to have my own show there as well. And it was really fun. And then I even got to kind of take over their social media for a little bit, go to some really cool events. When 9 Prime opened in Westchester, I got to go to their media night for WCHE. So it
awesome.
was cool.
Yeah, so we get to wear a lot of hats. So the next place you go to when they say, "Have you ever done this?" You're able to say, "Yeah, I did that. I did that at my last station." Yes,
Yeah.
small places can create great opportunities for you. And for those of you who are listening, WCHE is available as an internship. So if you want to talk to them, come talk to me and we can talk about that. I can put you in touch with those people. So let's talk about setting that alarm clock very early in the morning to go into Philadelphia for WMMR.
Ooh, that was a tough one. That was my senior year, so this past fall, and it was 3 days a week. So it was Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then I was in grad school as well. So all my classes were at night. So I was up at like 4 in the morning, and then I would have to go to a class at like 7 o'clock at night.
Oh,
Ooh, they were long days, and I can't nap. I'm not a napper. I haven't hit that point yet.
oh,
Um, it was tough. It was tough. But it was it was hard getting up. But once I kind of got into the routine of it, I really don't mind early mornings. And especially getting in there and doing really cool stuff. I mean, it was a really fun and interesting internship. It was with the Preston and Steve show. They're really fun people. Always doing something wacky and cool. So I got a lot of experience through that. And just, getting to be able to work in Philly. It's the #4 market for media. So it's a huge station, lots of cool experience, but waking up in the morning, I consumed a lot of coffee that
that's
semester.
tough. Yeah, but they're number one in the morning slot, right?
They are.
Yeah, so that's really, really hitting it out of the park as far as getting into a station that's number one in the number four market in the country that's a feather in your cap.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they were so great with teaching you what to do. If there was anything interesting, they would bring you on air to talk about, something that kind of pertained to you. So that was really fun. And then I also got to do a lot of really cool experiences with them. They do this huge fundraiser with Phil Abundance to raise a bunch of food cans and stuff like that. And I got to be a big part of that in Philly. It was right outside of all the stadiums and all that good stuff. So
At the Camp Out for Hunger?
yes, Camp Out for Hunger. Sorry, it was like slipping my mind.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. I got to be a part of the Camp Out for Hunger. So super cool.
that's great. So they're an irreverent comedy show, but at the same time, they're professionals when it comes to being radio people.
Yes, which was really cool to see. Very professional people, know how to run a really good morning show, but they're just so funny. And like and that was also a really nice thing. You get in there at 6 in the morning and you're like, but then you're like, why am I laughing at 6:30 in the morning? Why am I
What
cracking up right now?
what was your route? Did you go down 352 to 95 or did you go down 202
202.
to the Schuylkill?
Yep, to the Scoogle.
Okay.
That was tough.
That must have been wide open at that hour.
It was, but when I was coming back, it was a nightmare. It was the worst part of my day, was driving back.
So when did you sleep?
Mm, After my classes, probably I would go to bed around, like right as I would get back from my classes around 9 o'clock-ish, I would sleep.
Man, no party days in those days.
Mm-mm.
Did you do it up on Fridays?
Oh, you bet. Oh, don't worry.
So you still left room for having fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's not a
That's
small thing either. That's an important part of college as well.
that's such an important thing. Or you're gonna be miserable and kind of like this machine. And I did a lot of things and I kind of sound like a psychopath, like, oh, I was up at this hour doing this and this and this, but I always made sure, even when I would come home from my internship, I would sit and I would watch you know, a TV show with my roommates. I would always go out to like happy hour with my friends, like always finding time. You got to make sure that you're having the fun or you're going to end up hating it.
That's good advice. I think that you
Yeah,
need, even if you're working hard, you need some balance in what you do. You got to reward yourself out there.
you do. You
Right?
need to go to a thirsty Thursday every once in a while.
That's
Got
good
him.
advice. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that's good. And I know that you did. With my niece, she was part of it. My niece Taylor was part of Lauren's gang, and they would contact me, they would text me in the middle of the night from somewhere and say, we're here and we're having fun. And it always made me happy that I knew you were both hard workers, and I knew that I wanted you to make sure you had some fun as well. I mean, you were dog tired and you would kind of put in everything you could for a day, and it was time to relax, and you had to do that as well. So that was good.
Time to tear up the town.
Kind of tear up the town.
Time to
Yeah.
tear up the town.
So we're talking about getting you through your junior year into your senior year. Are you shaping up as far as I have a career path, or I've got a career cloud or some area, or were you panicking when you're coming to your graduation, or what was going on?
It was a very weird situation. So my junior year, I would say in October or November, I was sitting with my advisor, Dr. Gatchett, once again, awesome guy. And he was like, you know, you could graduate in May if you wanted to.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, that's so crazy. So then I thought, and I remember one of my very first meetings with him as a freshman, he was telling me about the 4+1 program that you guys offer for getting your master's in communication studies. So then I kind of pulled that out of my back pocket and I talked to him. I was like, all right, well, what if I start doing this 4+1 this year because I can graduate? I'll graduate a year early, and then my senior year will be all grad. And then I could probably, once I'm doing that this year, I can probably bang that out all next year and then be done. And he was like, we could probably do it. So then that's what I did. And that was really interesting because you kind of always want to delay graduating, you know, you want to be a college kid forever. And then there he is saying like, hey, get out of here, you're good.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And I felt like I wasn't really ready at all. At that point, when I had graduated with my undergrad, I had only had the internship with WCHE. So I didn't really have experience working in a big market in news or anything. And I kind of wanted to go down that news path. I really love like journalism as a whole. I really enjoy just being a journalist. It doesn't matter if it is on TV or paper or anything, but I wanted to kind of see what a newsroom being in a television station was like. So I was kind of panicking because now I have a degree. I feel like I'm not ready for it. So then I took that extra year or my senior year, and that's when I really got the experience of being in Philly and Baltimore. So
Wow.
I'm really glad that I did take that extra and I got my master's during that because it wasn't like I wasn't doing school or anything, just like doing random internships. I was still a student, so that didn't make me feel weird about it. But
How did you find grad school different from undergrad?
undergrad was media and production, and I had a minor in communication studies. So I was a little bit aware of that communication aspect of it, which I feel like communication is more like theory and rhetoric. And then media is more production and PR and, you know, crisis communication and stuff like that. Well, actually that's comm, but whatever. So I was a little prepared for the communication masters. It was definitely a lot of more work,
Was it?
a lot of more writing, later classes. Just I would say a lot of more theory and all that good stuff, and then writing the thesis. Whew,
Yeah.
story for a different day. You
Yeah.
know,
Thesis are a real project. Yeah. That's
that
an
was a tough one.
yeah, but you crammed it all in. Did you ever feel like you weren't going to be able to make it?
100%. 100%.
Those students shouldn't come away with this thinking that you don't have any self-doubt.
If I can do it, you can do it. That's that's the main takeaway. If I can do it, you're good.
That's good. That's good advice. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It's hard to, when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to feel that way.
It's really hard to feel that way. And I had just you know, and like you said, I was really cramming everything in. You know, I guess a thesis is kind of supposed to take a couple months. crammed that in like
Crank it out.
2 or 3.
Wow. That's hard to do.
Very hard. There was a lot of setbacks with it. And it was really scary, and yeah, it was a nightmare. But you know, and I had really good people helping me out with it. I had Dr. Mahoney, who is literally my godsend for that. She is amazing. Dr. Rainier, I had so many people helping me out with it. And they knew I was struggling really hard. So they were really holding my hand with it. And that's also the really nice thing about Westchester is just like the one-on-one communication that you can have with your professors. Like they're here to help you. And I promise you, if I did not have that support from them, I would not have a master's degree behind me.
That's great. That's great. And for those
Yeah.
who are listening, if those who are listening are not sure, the 4-in-1 program allows you to keep going forward with your undergraduate degree, but to start to apply some of those classes to your master's, which is moving you through both programs at the same time. You can talk to Dr. Gadget or any of a number of professors in the department, and they'll talk to you about if you have an interest in that, whether you're able to do that or not. It's obviously a good thing to do. You can take some master's classes and apply them to your undergraduate and never finish your grad, but you can get a taste of graduate school and see what that's kind of like. And the thesis, as Lauren would be happy to tell you, is your own research project where you're moving into generating your own data, doing your own analysis with your help from your professors, but you're actually producing something that's worthy of a convention or even publication when you end up doing it. So you find something that's a very significant interest to you, and then you marry it and live with it for months and months and months. It's a project, but master's is not supposed to be an easy thing to do. But if you really bear down on it, and if you ask good questions and get good advice and accept good advice, then you can get through a master's as well.
And you also don't have to do a thesis. There's the non-thesis route, which maybe I should have done, but I'm glad that I did my thesis because it was really hard, but it was really rewarding. Like, I'm very glad that, you know, I can say I did this. But you don't have to do a thesis, this big, scary project. There's a non-thesis route as well, which you can do and get your master's just the same.
Great, great. Meanwhile, somewhere along all of this, you went abroad.
I was hoping to bring that up. Yes,
Tell us about it.
I was in between my sophomore and my junior year. I went to Ireland, study abroad media in Ireland with Dr. Lorden and Dr. Rainier, and it was one of the best trips of my life. It was so much fun. And that was very interesting as well. That's kind of the same as like a club. And you know, coming into college and not really knowing anybody or anything. I went to study abroad, not knowing a single person on the trip. I was like, I'd go to Ireland. This is what I want to do is media. So this hand in hand, perfect. Had no idea anybody. And I ended up meeting some of my very best friends on that trip. And also just having the best experiences there and also learning so much over there about, you know, their culture, how they incorporate media into their everyday lives, even getting to have my own radio show over there, which Dr. Lorden wouldn't come and be on it, but it's fine. Whatever.
It took me a long time to realize that you were flying solo over there. I thought that you had people that you knew. I guess you weren't alone in that, but it seemed like the group got along very, very well, and people made some real lifelong friends at that.
Yeah, we had a really good group. It was an interesting group, but it was good. Very fun group to have. Lots of late nights in Ireland.
Good, good. And one of the things we learn in that is when you go abroad, suddenly a person with a WCU sweatshirt, suddenly you're very close friends simply because you're in a different place with somebody you barely know.
Yes, it is. But I mean, to this day, my very best friend ever, Morgan Sanderson, met her on the trip. I mean, we were both one of the very few people that went solo. But we met each other over there, and like, she is one of my very best friends in the entire world. And I got that from being abroad. And I even met people over in Ireland, like Irish people that I still talk to this day.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's really fun.
That would be obviously something else I would encourage anybody who's listening to our podcast here is to think about this. Our interview is to think about the idea of going abroad, particularly going to Ireland with us. We're doing it again in the July of 2025, and everyone's invited to that. Lauren did go out late at night, but also learned a lot of stuff about different television stations and different radio stations and a bunch of different things. And there was an academic component to it. They really had an intellectual part as well as learning all about Ireland.
And it was fun too. Even the assignments that we had, I'll never forget the man on the street assignment. You know, we had to go out and talk to people in Limerick and talk to them about their media consumption and kind of, you know, talk to them and almost make a little podcasty thing about, you know, how they consume media and what they think of it and just kind of compare it to how it is over in the States. So it was interesting assignments that we were doing over there. It wasn't like, do this, you know, like do this test and you have
Yeah,
20 minutes. What'd you do today? You know, stuff like that. But also the other big part of the academic experience was experiencing Ireland in itself. So that was a huge part of the class was going out and exploring where you were.
good. Glad to hear that. And you did it well. You clearly wrung as much as you could out of Ireland,
It was great. I would definitely recommend going abroad.
Have you been to other countries?
I have. And even when I was in Ireland, I took a weekend trip over to Paris.
Wow, that's something. What'd you
Yeah,
think of that?
so what was that?
What'd you think of Paris?
I love Paris. I've been there prior as well. My family took a trip over to France. I really enjoy France. It's not for everybody. The girl that I went with, Rachel, she wasn't a big fan of Paris. She thought the people were not too nice, but and I guess they have that rap, but I enjoyed it.
So when you were watching the Olympics on TV this year, you were able to say, I was there and I was there and I was there.
I was there. I knew exactly where they were. I felt like I was an Olympian myself.
That's a really cool, a very exciting experience to see something very exotic on TV and feel like you've conquered that. And you say, I have exact experiences from right in that spot.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool. But
That's neat.
yeah,
Great. So let's move forward to your current post-graduation situation. You were even there's some trend lines here. You were coming out of high school and you had done some communication type stuff. You went through college and you kept building it, and then you finally get done. Did you have the job before you graduated?
I did.
How
Yes.
how much time before you graduated?
I would say a couple weeks, month or so maybe.
Did it feel relief to do that?
It was a relief, you know, being able to enjoy graduation and not like thinking what's next. I mean, it was scary. I'm down in North Carolina now. I've never really moved far away from home like this. You know, Westchester
How
was only
far
an
is this?
hour.
How
This
far
is
is it?
about six and a half hours.
Yeah, you're away. You're away. Yeah. And
Yeah, a little bit.
when did you arrive there?
I started June 18th, 17th, and I literally came like 2 days prior.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yes,
so you've been there through the summer. You have an apartment down there?
I do. Yeah, I'm in my apartment now.
You like
Uh,
the town?
what was that?
You like the town?
I do. It's nice. And it's kind of a good stepping stone because East Carolina University is right here. So it's still a college town. It's a little, but you know, I covered like the entire Eastern North Carolina. So I get
Wow.
to be all over the place, you know, hopping from county to county and all that good stuff. But I also get to come home and I'm still kind of in a college town. So I still get to hold on to that college girl life. But
Awesome. What kind of hours are you working?
let's see, right now I'm working, it's 9 to 6:30 and our shows are 5:30 and 6. Those are the shows that I'm on.
You're doing a lot of remote stuff, going out and doing stand-ups?
Mhm.
What kind
Yeah.
of stories give us some stories you're covering?
Let's see. I was talking to you a little about this earlier. I went out to the Collard Green Festival this past week. Very fun, very exciting. Tomorrow I'll be going to a 9/11 memorial in one of the towns over and just kind of talking about the significance of it within that town. A lot of community events, I got to talk to a woman whose son was hit and run and had
Oh my
passed
God.
away and they still had not found who had done it. So I got to, you know, kind of talk to her and see the importance of it is for them to find out who did it. So like really cool stuff that impacts people. That's what I like to see is the impact that it has. And just, you know, real people and sharing their stories.
That must have been a hard door to knock on when you knew you were going to be dealing with a mom like that.
Yeah, it was not fun. That was a hard one. But
Yeah.
it was significant. It was important to get that out there and hopefully something comes of it.
Do you have a camera person or are you doing the stand-up by yourself, or how's it work?
all by myself.
All
So
you?
I pitch that, so I have to find the stories myself. So I find the stories, and then you kind of go and we have a morning meeting and we discuss what we think is going to be best for the show that night. And then once we figure that out, I go out, I get the interviews myself, I get all the footage, and then I come back and I edit everything together myself.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then I write everything myself as well. So everything that's written with what the story that I'm doing that day is all produced by me. And then I do all the stand-ups and stuff and kind of present it.
So you could step into anywhere in the process in any other institution and say, I've edited, I've shot, I've written, I've researched.
Yeah.
Those, I mean, those are basic reporting skills no matter where you are. That's the job.
Yeah, and I think also it's a cool job to have because it's very interchangeable within different roles as well. You know, I can work really fast deadlines. I have a deadline every single day. You know, I get my story probably by 10 in the morning is when they're like, all right, go out and get it. And then by 4 p.m., I have to have everything done and ready for the producers.
Do you have a favorite story that you've worked on yet?
I really enjoy everything I'm doing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, there's no favorite so far. I'm still fairly new. This is the first couple of months, so I'm still getting my feet wet and building it's a lot of building contacts and building, repertoire with people and all that good stuff. But I will say I got to cover it's this huge bike event for multiple sclerosis, and they raise money for, to find a cure and all that. So I got to go out to this huge bike event and there was over 1,000 bikers and it was in the
Gosh.
pouring rain too. So that was really interesting to kind of see
Bicyclists or motorcyclists?
bicyclists
1,000 people in the rain.
in the rain.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's something. And have you colossally screwed anything up yet?
You always have your blips, and especially being on live TV. You mess up here and there, but nothing colossal, knock on wood.
Yeah,
But you're always, and that's the nice thing is being there is you're able to learn and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes.
that's
So,
wonderful.
yeah.
Everybody keeps making them. I mean, it's not like you're going to grow out of that or anything like that. You're always going to make mistakes. That's part of it. And you've even gotten a chance to anchor sometimes.
Yes.
That's exciting.
I got to do the morning weekend show, which that's also a very early morning. You're in there at 6 a.m. But yeah, I got to fill in one weekend, so that was really fun and I had a great time.
How is anchoring different than reporting?
Reporting, you're kind of out in the elements. You're outside, you're in the rain, you're in the snow, you're in the sleet, you're getting the story, you're out there connecting with the people. Now, anchors are usually a reporter turned into an anchor. But anchoring, you're kind of there, you're holding the show down, you're transitioning the stories from one story to another, from one reporter to another. And they just kind of make sure that everything that we're saying is truthful and making sure that, they're kind of there fact checking everything, making sure everything's going on all right. And they get to be behind the desk looking beautiful.
Would you like to go that route?
I would, yeah. I think it's a very fun job to have. I enjoy reporting as well. I kind of like it all. I think I want to have one of our producers teach me how to produce as well. Just to kind of be able to be everywhere and know how to do everything. But
That's wonderful. And probably you get better at each job by learning the other jobs.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's wonderful.
yeah, that's what this job kind of is, when you do get to a bigger market and you have a photographer, you kind of understand the struggles of doing everything by yourself. And
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And this is the 100th market you're in right now?
Yeah, it's 101 or something along those
101.
lines.
Yeah. So this next one we breaking into the double digits for you.
Yep, double digits.
Yeah. People tend to move around a good bit in your business, don't do they?
They do, yes.
Yeah. And is that comforting, not comforting? What is that?
It's not comforting.
Yeah. No, that's honest.
Yeah, it's not comforting. I'm a huge family girl, so even just being down here, very hard to be away from my family and my friends. I have like the greatest friends up where I live, so kind of moving away from all the people I love.
That's
Not a
hard.
huge fan of it, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to be doing something that I've always wanted to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you can always get back to them, but
Yeah.
taking that kind of career chance now, if you didn't do it, if you're 45 years old, you say, I should have taken a shot at that, even if it was for just a year or something like that.
I agree. I think I always had to go and try this out. And I do. I love it so far. I love this job. It's been awesome. Great experience. And hopefully someday I can make it on back to Philly or Baltimore, but I think it was good for me to also move away and try and something new.
That's true. That's part of it. That's part of the growing experience, especially at your age. Like I said, 5 years from now, you come back or whatever, you spend time, but you say, I want to at least take a shot at this.
Yeah. So I'm glad I'm doing it.
That's great. That's great. Well, we're running up against the time wise. I wanted to see if you had any summary remarks as the grand old lady of graduates. I know you're not too far along the line now, but you are far enough along the line where I think you can give some reasonable advice to our current students about attitudes or classes or skill sets or anything you want to tell our students.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Westchester is a great place to be at. And you're there to learn. Your teachers are there to help you. They're not there to go against you. So, take everything and enjoy it. It's a really good place to be, and also get to know your professors. Dr. Lurden will know this. I'm so annoying with my professors. I love talking to them, but that also can lead you into really good experiences. And building that network with your professors can lead you to other network lines down the line. Really good contacts to have. They're the professionals. They know what they're doing. They've seen it all. Talk to them about stuff. Talk to them about stuff that you want to do, how they can help you out. They're there for you. I would definitely say tune into that professor relationship with them. Build a good relationship with them. And at Westchester, they're all the greatest. I think there was not a professor that I did not like in the comm department. I had great experiences with them all. All taught me so much. And then also, once again, like I was saying, make sure to go out of your comfort shell and try something new. Go to a different club, go study abroad, you're going to meet some of your bestest friends, make the best memories, find out what you like and what you don't like. College is the one place that you can do that. Once you're out of college, you're not going to have this experience again. So try and make the most of it.
That's wonderful. That's great. I want to thank Kelsey Madison for putting this all together. She's in the dean's office. She works hard on arranging this and getting our Zooms together and making sure we're all scheduled. And it's great we appreciate her work on this. And I very much want to thank Lauren Beachy, MDC class of 24. I'm proud of you. You know that. I love you. You know that the department loves you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you.
And you stay in touch with us. You're our end product. You're the reason we do things, and know that we are very proud of how you have taken chances and how you succeeded.
Thank you so much. I
Great,
appreciate
thanks.
everything that you guys have done for me.
Thanks. Come back and see us sometime, okay?
Absolutely. I'll be
All right.
back.
Thanks much. Take care.
Thank you.